tell you an old Christmas story as we sit round the log fire at night. Why each Christmas tree has a fairy on top, and why Santa's beard is so white. It happened one winter in England, on a dark Christmas Eve long ago. There was Santa out doing his rounds and playing with his sledge in the snow. He was taking all presents to houses, and then when his first job were done, he went round again with his fairies, putting Christmas trees in every one. Now just when he thought he might finish, and the last house was almost in sight, he went to fetch last trees off the toboggan, and found he was just 4 trees light. This discovery quite upset Santa, so giving his reindeers a shout, he sent for his Christmas tree fairy to chastise her for leaving them out. By gum, there's a daft little fairy, that's as daft as a fairy could be. Well, I picked up the sled this evening, they must have missed off some trees. Oh bugger, said this little fairy, which was really quite unfairy-like. I'll have to go back to yon factory, and with that she jumped on a bike. Hold on just a minute, cried Santa, there's a way that you will not forget. Fetch 1 tree for each of your fingers on the right hand, you'll get it right yet. Then off like a shot went our fairy, much faster than light from the sun, because Einstein hadn't yet been invented, so she didn't know it couldn't be done. Now, if you could have watched little fairy, there were trouble to come, you could tell, for when she were counting her fingers, she counted her thumb in as well. Now Santa, he'd waited for hours, till his patience were running quite dry, till at last he saw our fairy pedalling for what she was worth through the sky. But then as the fairy got nearer, Santa's anger it grew more and more, because he could see from the load that she were bearing that she'd brought him 5 trees, not 4. Then Santa got redder and redder and started roaring with all of his might, till the glow from his nose outshone Rudolph, and his beard it began to turn white. Why, that's stupid, he yelled at the fairy, that's 4 times as thick as I thought. Now go put them trees in last houses, and as soon as that's finished, report. So straightways off went our fairy, and as soon as she'd finished the last place, she brought the 5th tree back to Santa and waved it in front of his face. Whatever shall I do with this one? Our innocent fairy inquired. So Santa, he upped and he told her, cause by now he was feeling quite tired. The fairy, she looked up at Santa, and her face it turned a mite red. But then, like the good fairy she was, she went and she did as he said. So now, at the end of my story, you'll see why to this very night, each Christmas tree's got a fairy on top, and old Santa's beard is quite white. Merry Christmas.